At lower right, Dante and Statius stand at the side of the river Lethe, looking up at Beatrice, who, in the text, upbraids him with his sinful life. Across the stream, displaced, we see Dante kneeling, overcome by shame. So great is his remorse that he will lose consciousness. Statius looks on at Dante's discomfiture. When he comes to, he is already wading neck-deep in the river. Matilda guides him, walking on the surface. Statius here isn't, as appears, walking on the water. He is part of the previous vignette, and a correction to the course of the stream would have removed the confusion. As Dante makes his way across the stream, Matilda pushes his head under, forcing him to swallow some Lethe, which grants forgetfulness of one's sins. On the other side, and further downstream, Matilda shows Statius Dante now standing amid the four natural virtues who dance around him and lead him before the chariot. In the text, Dante sees from afar, reflected in Beatrice's eyes, the mystery of the griffins, that is, Christ's nature, at once fully human and fully divine. This is only a foretaste of the understanding he will attain in Paradiso. It's still just a mortal perception, as indicated by the natural virtues. We see, then, Dante's natural capacities set to dancing around him as he glimpses the infinite. Pulling back, the context clarifies the scene. Behind Dante, the books of the Old Testament raise high their volumes, but turn away. Their words attested the Christ, but they could not see him. The theological virtues, faith, hope, and love, dance to Dante's right. They are part of Dante's experience, but he is not yet on their level. Christ is represented by the stiffly hieratic griffin. So high and holy a mystery may only be expressed indirectly by symbols, but the actual experience of the divine is conveyed by Dante's enraptured face among the dancing virtues. This is a vision as graceful and sublime as Botticelli's Venus or Primavera. In late Botticelli, the pagan lyricism of the Renaissance artist is entirely fused with Gothic Christian piety. Botticelli's religious imagery, always beautiful, now carries conviction as it never did before. Art historians tend to be unsympathetic to Botticelli's Divine Comedy, treating this work as if it were the crumbs from his table. Well, they are mistaken. Botticelli is the only illustrator who succeeded in depicting the mystical content of the poem so that one can feel the exhilaration of Dantean spirituality. The chariot, which is the church, is surrounded by the four beings who are the evangelists: the eagle for John, the angel for Luke, the ox for Matthew, and the lion for Mark. The three theological and the four natural virtues dance by the chariot's wheels, and we see in the rear the literature of Christianity. Paul holds a book and the sword which is the trenchant word of God. St. Peter, to the left, also holds up a book, but in the other hand the keys that admit to heaven and hell. Then come the four great fathers of the Latin Church. On the sides are the bishops Ambrose and Augustine, who cannot be distinguished here, then Jerome in the flat hat, and Pope Gregory in the tiara. In the rear, St. John sleepwalks, lost in visions of the end of days. In the text, Dante stares into Beatrice's eyes and sees there the transforming reflection of the griffin. Botticelli has instead rendered both Dante and Beatrice with eyes closed, communing with one another psychically. Beatrice holds a scepter and a book. The image is based on traditional Eastern Orthodox icons of Hagia Sophia, God's wisdom, of which a characteristic example is this 16th century Russian icon from the St. George Church in Vologda. It is worth noting that traditional representations of wisdom's scepter, though often quite thin, are usually long and have some sort of ornament at the top. Beatrice appears to be holding a switch. I think Botticelli may here be unconsciously taking account of the masochistic overtones in Dante's relation to Beatrice. The 32nd canto contains a complex allegory. We will rove around the page, following the narrative. After Dante's griffin vision, the parade moves east to the center of paradise. Dante, standing with Statius and Matilda, looks on in wonder. They will come to the tree of knowledge, scene of Adam's fall, and there the griffin will leave the chariot at the base of the trunk. Once it is parked, all the heavenly beings, except for Beatrice and the seven virtues, will return to the skies. We see them at top, ascending through horizontal lines that represent the successive celestial spheres. Before the return to heaven, they sang a hymn of such overpowering beauty it rendered Dante unconscious. We see him as he wakens. He should be surrounded by the seven virtues, who logically would remain with Dante, but the text, which refers to them, says seven nymphs, and has traditionally been misinterpreted to refer to the seven lamp spirits from the Book of Revelation. This is what Botticelli shows us. Facing the waking Dante is Matilda. Next, she leads Dante and Statius to the tree where the allegory will be enacted, an allegory so startling it will bring Dante to his knees. The chariot, which is the church, is visited twice by the eagle, which represents the Roman Empire. The first time, the eagle attacks it. This is the Roman persecution of the early church. And the second time, it nests in it. This is Constantine's incorporation of the church into the state. As a result, the church chariot sprouts eagle feathers all over and grows 7 monstrous heads, 3 on the pole and 4 on the corners of the cart. It becomes an apocalyptic monster. The dragon attacking from below is Islam. The fox leaping in is the Gnostic heresy. The lovers inside are the French monarchy taking political advantage of the church. To the left in the final illustration, Matilda leads Dante and Statius to where the 7 virtues sing a dirge for the violated church. In their midst sits Beatrice with an expression of weary pain. In the next vignette, we are proceeding to the river Eunoe, which restores memory of all one's good deeds. Beatrice and Dante are in the lead, walking side by side now. Beatrice has pardoned Dante his misdeeds, and is making an effort to be friendly. Matilda and Statius bring up the rear. The 7 virtues walk ahead, still grieving for the degraded church. Finally, we reach the waters of Eunoe. Statius watches as Matilda immerses Dante. The text has him drinking the restorative waters. Botticelli's more acute sense of spiritual malaise demanded a full baptism.